Thank you. I don't know how I'm going to follow up the amazing conversation that's been going on.
Yeah.
How can we fix
We put
that?
a value on the adoption of them, but we act like they're not worth anything, even up to birth.
Mm-hmm.
But is it really choice? I mean,
This is episode 2 of The Heavenly View, Foster Care Isn't Abortion, with your host, Krissy Amos. Joining the conversation today, Sandra Hogue, co-founder of One Family, Melanie Gettel, Coastal Choices Women's Center, Jake Twenge, owner of Jake and Bake Cakes. Together, they open up an honest conversation about adoption, foster care, and the value of every life.
Welcome, everybody, to the Heavenly View, where we talk hot topics from a world and Christian perspective. I'm your host, Krissy Amos, and these two are my beautiful co-hosts today. We have Sandra Hogue from One Family, who focuses on training the local church to develop foster and adoptive support ministries. Thank you so much for being here, Sandra.
Thank you, Krissy.
And we have Melanie Gettel, which is incoming executive director of Coastal Choices Women's Clinic, where they offer free medical services and information to make an informed pregnancy choice. Thank you also for being here today.
thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we are going to just go ahead and jump right into this. And for those of you guys who haven't caught on already by their professions, today's show, we are talking about foster, adoption, and abortion. So let's go ahead and get right into the questions. One of the first questions I have for you guys is, what are some of the misconceptions that people have when it comes to adoption and foster care?
I think some of the greatest misconceptions would be what they are required, meaning like financially, or what kind of home they have to have, or the misconception of that they have to be this perfect family in order to be prepared for taking a child into their home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably one of the biggest reasons why people wait,
Yeah.
and or they put it on the back burner.
Okay. What do you think, Melanie?
Yeah, from a different perspective, I'm not from the people who may be wanting to or considering fostering or adoption, but on the other end of it, misconceptions are that they're one and the same. So I know in the pregnancy clinic, when we see women, they often associate adoption with foster care. And they think, oh, I could never place my child for adoption. I've been in foster care. I've heard of, my friend was in foster care. And it's like, wait. They're not the same, first of all.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so.
So in the fostering world, I do see a lot where when you do get involved with the state and you're taking in kids through like child development, child and family services, or you do normally come to the point where you get to adopt. Do you feel like more families are adopting through that, or do you see where parents are like, no, we'll foster, but we can't move forward with the adoptive process?
I think one of the misconceptions there is that you can adopt when you foster, or that children just become adoptable at some point.
Yeah.
Reunification with family is always the number one goal.
Yeah.
And that happens about 65% of the time.
Really?
Yeah. Reunification is a lot higher than most people think, because it's not just reunifying with the parents who might have lost them, but reunifying with family. So it could be
Right.
grandparents, aunts, uncles, someone else in the family.
Yeah.
So you can't go into foster care thinking that
that you're going to be able to
adoption's
adopt.
your goal. Yeah. They actually have 2 tracks. So when you contact your local child welfare agency, there's a training and licensing for foster parenting.
Yeah.
And there's a whole nother different track, a different class, or a set of classes, if you're just strictly adopting. But if you choose fostering and the child that you're fostering becomes adoptable, then you as the foster parent will get first, to be asked first whether it's something you're interested in moving forward with.
Very cool. I had no idea that there was like 2 different tracks you could go down when it comes to fostering. My husband and I have always wanted to foster. We always had it in our plan before we got married. We had talked about it, like it was just something we both had in our heart to do. And the only thing that's actually stopped us from taking that step is our middle child. she told us she wasn't ready for that. And so that was like kind of a hard transition because we wanted to respect her and like help her and be there for her. And our worlds are so crazy anyway. So we wanted to make sure we had that time with her that she wanted. But yeah, we were both blown away. We were like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You know, so I'm sure it's got to be hard on biological children too, whenever you do bring in kids that are in
You definitely
foster
want
care.
your family on the same page, especially the husband and wife,
Yeah.
but also the kiddos, because how we present it to families is you're a family on mission. So you're doing this as a family because the kids are going to have to share, obviously the time and attention of the parents, and they might have to share a bedroom with the child.
Right.
They might have to share toys with the child. They're sharing a lot of things. So you definitely do want to get them on the same page because you're doing this as a family.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we didn't take the plunge. Okay, so this question is really for you, Sandra. I'm sure you'll have some input on this as well. But what support do people have when they go into fostering, and how can our state do better in this area?
So our state is privatized. We're in Florida, and that means we have multiple child welfare agencies that are contracted through the Department of Children and Families. And so every area might do things just a little bit different. So
Right.
there's some things everyone has to do, like the coursework that they provide, the background checks, the fingerprinting, the home studies, and those kinds of things. But every community has its own resources. Some areas might have support groups available. I know there are Facebook groups that, get to chat, and there's some places where there are meetups.
Okay.
I know here where we live, there are places where once a month you can meet up with other foster families. And that's usually through a foster parent who just decides, like, this is a good place at this park on this day, and they'll put it out there on the Facebook page or whatever. As far as the state's concerned, our current governor and his wife, they came up with a team of the Faith and Community-Based Initiative, and that was put into place to include the churches, being on the front lines, allowing the church to be first responders to foster families, relative caregivers, just children in at-risk and vulnerable situations. And so that was kind of from the top down, which allowed churches and parachurch ministries and nonprofits to jump on and be a part of that, connecting resources with the families and, ministries connecting with those families. And then, even smaller, there's churches that have launched ministries to support those families.
And so the organization that you're with, One Family, tell me a little bit about that, because you offer some of these resources and you help churches in this area, right?
Yeah, so we are, we're all about engaging the faith community and the community at large, but, in different ways, we connect with them. We provide resources and tools for churches who have a heart to do something in the area of foster care and adoption, or wraparound support. We provide resources and tools for them to mobilize their volunteers and to launch their own ministries, because that's where the volunteer base is going to come from.
Right.
And then it's just something they own and they do. So we kind of do it on a regional level, provide those resources and do the training for them and the ongoing support for them, using technology that helps them mobilize those volunteers to help them keep up with it, track which families they're serving, what those families are receiving. We have another online platform that allows child welfare and crisis pregnancy centers to submit needs in the community, that allows the church to see those needs in their emails and respond directly to the families.
Oh, I love that. And see, I think there's so many that don't realize that there are resources like that out there whenever, they may have a heart to foster, but don't feel like they can do it on their own, or that they'll have the support, or maybe they don't have a family unit necessarily around them that can help them in that. It's amazing to know that there are organizations like that, and One Family, and a state organizations that they can reach out to help them in those
Absolutely.
those areas. That's
Yeah,
really
we
amazing.
love the care portal at Coastal Choices. We've utilized it several times to get urgent needs met for clients that we couldn't provide. So it is and it also connects the person to a church, not necessarily forever, but,
Right.
it gets a contact there. So
Yeah, it's not mandated, but it allows the church to step in and build that relationship because they're bringing that item that family needs.
Right.
And then they can offer, further support or invitation to the church. Hey, we've got a small group, we have discipleship, we have something for your kids. And so it allows for those meaningful connections and long-lasting relationships to take place rather than just a transaction. Like, here's the diapers and wipes you asked for.
Right.
But, to further that relationship. So it's a neat way of getting the church to do a little outreach in this area, in this space that maybe they wouldn't have had access to before.
Yeah.
And the church has been great about it. I mean, most requests, they're met almost immediately. So,
Wow.
yeah. And some of them are big things.
Well, I just think it brings the scripture that it's the goodness of it's the goodness of God that draws men to repentance. That is true goodness of God, to be there in people's time of need, to provide these things for them and say, hey, listen, we're here for you. Let us pray for you. Let us support you in this area. You're not alone. And so I know that I don't know if our church necessarily is connected with Care Portal. If not, we will be soon. But we do have like food pantries and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll go and I'll like make a house call and I'll deliver foods or groceries to like single moms. And there's been several parents that I've met providing that for them and praying for them that have brought them into the church and then bringing their kids into our children's programs and just being able to kind of like minister to them in that time. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to provide that. I think it's truly the goodness of God, right?
And you're providing a family, right? So some of these women may not have that supportive family, and the church becomes the family. And it's the same way when you're fostering and adopting and you don't have family, you're kind of doing this thing alone.
Right.
It can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
The needs of the kids, the state coming into your home every month, and just all of the revolving door, and just feeling like you're just, so overwhelmed. And sometimes you just feel isolated. So being a part of a church that understands you and provides some services for you,
Right.
that you see, you are seen and heard, and your ministry as a family on mission is validated, it goes a long way.
And not to mention, these kids they're coming from all sorts of backgrounds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're coming with real traumas and experiences that they've gone through that have affected them in such a great way. So I mean, I haven't personally fostered. I know you have many, so you could probably contest to this or agree to this, but it's hard just in that aspect of trying to minister to them and give them things and experience things that they've never experienced before, and truly loving on them. So I can imagine I couldn't do it without like a church family, without a support group.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for a long time we didn't, because this church-based foster care ministry wasn't really a thing.
No.
It just became, it just kind of entered the scene maybe 5 to 8 years ago. And when I say entered, I mean like resources and tools that the churches can use. They're not trying to figure it out or make something up, but real tools and resources that they can use to launch something that can be meaningful and really a lifeline for some of these families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also amazing that we do live in a state where, like, our governor does recognize the need for that and has worked hard to provide things in that area.
Yeah.
So praise God for that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, ladies, now it's coming to the big whopper of all topics, the one that ruffles everyone's feathers, and that would be abortion. I really contemplated even bringing that in on this episode. I'd like to have an episode all of its own about abortion, and I probably still will. So stay tuned for that, because I probably will have an episode of just abortion. But there's been so much controversy in this area since Roe versus Wade was overturned. And I actually have a clip for us to watch. So let's roll the clip.
We're here in New York City asking people their thoughts on abortion.
Do you know who you're interviewing?
Sorry, no. Please do tell
I'm
me.
Alexander Sanger. I'm the former president of Planned Parenthood of New York. My
Margaret
grandmother is
Sanger.
Margaret Sanger, who founded Planned Parenthood. You cannot make abortion go away by criminalizing it. All you do is you make it unsafe. You put women at risk, poor women, women of color, women that don't have the advantages of middle class, wealthy women to travel somewhere and get an abortion. It's discriminatory, it's unfair, it's unsafe, and to me it's just a total outrage against women.
It's a woman's choice.
Yes.
Deep breath.
Exactly. All right, ladies. So true or false? Is what he's saying true?
Which part? It's a woman's choice. Well, technically, legally, right now, it is the woman's choice. But is it really choice? I mean, I think of abortion when women are faced with that decision. Their choices are parenting, adoption, or termination. Though that's choice. That's pro-choice. Pro-choice is not terminating a pregnancy.
Right.
That's termination.
Right. Yeah.
So that whole pro-choice thing, and of course the woman's right. It's her body, yes, but it's a human being.
we forget all about human rights.
Yes.
The right of the human that
what about human
is in the
rights?
womb.
Yeah.
So, Melanie, you had said when we had talked before, you had some statistics when it comes to abortion. You want to share those with
Yeah,
us?
so I don't think people are very aware of the statistics, but the most recent, so first of all, there's statistics are put out by the CDC, the Center of Disease Control, and also the Guttmacher Institute. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. The Guttmacher Institute, by the way, is pro-abortion. So the statistics, you can't say it's, it's
Right.
from a whatever, non-reliable source if you're pro-choice. But the statistics for abortion since 1973 up to 2017 are 600 and some million babies.
Wow.
Yeah, which is more than all of the wars, all of the natural disasters, all of the terrorism. And it's just
Combined, right? All of those combined.
Yes. And here in Florida, this past year, we had over 60,000 abortions, which was down from last year from 84, which, of course, the law change,
Right.
in 2022 has an impact on that, but it's not an accurate number either, because I know we're gonna talk more about the abortion pill, but it's become widely accessible. So
Right.
the numbers that we have are not completely accurate because you can actually perform an abortion at home now.
So then the actual statistic on that then is from like a surgical removal, it not with the abortion pill.
Well, some of the statistics include women who have had they call it a medical abortion.
Okay.
The pill. The statistics does include that because they've been using the pill for a long time. But because now you don't have to go to an abortion clinic to get the pill, you can actually order it online. So there's a lot of unreported statistics.
Wow.
So.
And I know like the big thing is, it takes away our rights, and what if they're raped, or what if, there's complications and the mom is going to die, and there's still room for that.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that part hadn't changed. If there was complications and the mother was at risk, they still perform an
Yes.
abortion for those situations,
Yes. The Florida,
even though they're outside of that term.
the Florida statutes protect the woman, her health, the if she was raped or any of that. But that's 1%.
Yeah, 1%.
1% of all those abortions.
So basically, the majority of the abortions happen because women are saying, hey, I'm going to use abortion as a form of birth control.
That's right. It's inconvenient.
Well,
It's just an inconvenience to
Yes.
to bring a child into the world.
Yes, most abortions are elective. I wouldn't say that any woman truly wants to have an abortion, and when she's actually faced with it, she doesn't want to be in that position. But when she is, she's operating out of fear, the what ifs and I can'ts and all of that. And it's legal, so it's okay, right? I mean, that's what we see. That it's, everybody, and gosh, the statistics for Christians too, it's no different. So
sad.
Yeah.
So what exactly is the abortion pill? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the abortion pill consists of 2 pills, actually. The first pill cuts off the lifeline, basically, for the baby, and it stops the mom from having the progesterone that she needs to sustain life. And then the second pill, which is usually taken within 12 to 24 hours later, actually starts labor. So these women, they're doing this type of abortion at home. And, when you're, not that it's good to be at an abortion clinic, but you are under some sort of medical care and you really don't see what's happening. But at home with the pill, you're going to see.
I can't imagine that. Like myself, I have 2 kids that I've given birth to, but I've had 5 miscarriages outside of that.
Wow.
And to go through what I went through when I was home alone, or, my husband was with me, and sometimes to go through that is so heart-wrenching in that moment and so hard. I couldn't imagine afflicting that on myself by taking this pill, like knowing that I'm causing this pain and this hurt on myself. I mean, you go into labor, you have contractions.
Yes.
It's
And a baby comes out.
yeah. Yeah.
There
I
must be
cannot
so
imagine.
much regret and so much
Absolutely.
Pain
Yes.
and
that goes along with that,
shame.
because especially if they've been lied to, it's just a clump of cells. It's just
Right. When
an
you look,
embryo. They call it everything else a zygote, just to kind of take the name
Right.
baby
Out
out of it. And then it comes out and it's got little fingers and little toes. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see
And
that.
you see that it's a
at
baby.
at 6 weeks.
Yes.
You can see.
Yes.
So when they, well, I guess before I get to this question, tell me, what is the difference between like Planned Parenthood and organizations like the one you work for, which is Coastal Choices?
Yeah,
What's the difference there?
So according to Planned Parenthood, they provide medical services, and they do. They do, offer birth control, and they do STI testing and things like that, women's health. But the majority of what they're doing is that, and where they're making their huge revenue is off of abortion. And when you go in for an abortion, they have to, by law, take medical information from you, but they're not really talking to you about abortion. I do think they say, "Are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want?" Kind of thing. And at Coastal Choices, first of all, we look at the whole woman. We want to know what she's contemplating, why she's contemplating abortion. We want to educate her. So we do let her know what a chemical abortion is, what a surgical abortion is. We educate on fetal growth, so she can see just what a 6-week-old baby looks
The
like, a
development.
6, an 8, a 9,
yeah.
a 10. And how quickly that develops. We offer medical services, so she gets the pregnancy test, she gets an ultrasound, and we also do STI testing, because it's super important not to have an abortion if you have an STI, because it could be very dangerous.
Wow.
Yeah. And What else was I going to say about that? There's so much.
So you have them do an ultrasound before they make any kind of
Yes.
decisions, and they actually get to see their
Yes.
baby.
Yeah.
Do you find that that changes a lot of women's minds when they see the life?
In the moment, it really can change the mind, because she sees, usually we can catch a flicker and see the heartbeat. But and we've even had women say, "Oh, I can't have an abortion. I'm going to choose life." But then they leave and they have a boyfriend or a mom or a friend back in their ear, telling them all the reasons why they can't do it. Mm-hmm. So part of what we do, we counsel also while they're there. We try to unpack their feelings in regards to why they're, considering abortion, and if there's pressure. And we've just recently started to also talk to the guy, really counsel him and find out.
I think that's so good.
Yeah, because he's been kind of left out of the equation.
Completely.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not him pressuring. Sometimes he wants to keep the child. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've got some male mentors who are walking alongside of us, or alongside of them, to try to help them understand their feelings, and then we let them know that we are there to provide the support, whether it's tangible needs, learning, education on, pregnancy and childbirth and parenting and all of that, or spiritual growth. Mm-hmm. And we have a whole wraparound care program. So if they do choose to parent, then we are there for them.
And you can connect them to the resources that they need to get through that as well.
Yes. And we also offer education on adoption, because they may not, most of them don't consider it. It goes back to not understanding adoption and associating it with foster care.
Wow.
Right.
So part of
which is two totally different
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard women say, if they're going to carry their baby for 9 months, why would they then choose adoption? And so there's this thing about, if I just get rid of it, then I don't have to see the child and make this difficult decision, not realizing that when they terminate this child's life and this pregnancy, all the regret and the ramifications of that from stats are much worse than a mom giving her baby's life,
the depression
to another
and
family.
the anxiety and everything that they go through afterwards, even if they don't even realize it in the moment, it sticks with them for the rest of their lives. It's something they can't turn back from. I've always told my husband, when we've talked about like this subject, like, I'm like, babe, I just wish that every person who wanted to have an abortion had an ultrasound so that they could see their baby and see the heartbeat of the child that is inside of them. And 2, I think that they should see like educational videos on how this is performed and what that looks like. It is not something pretty. I've seen so many videos where the baby is feeling pain. And I don't think that they associate that either. Like you're causing and inflicting pain to this baby. And when you watch some of these videos, you can see the babies trying to get away from what is happening to them. And I just feel like, man, if we could show them and educate them, maybe we would have a lot less happening every day.
Education is the key.
Yeah.
On the surgical, not to be too graphic on here, but on the surgical abortion, the babies are literally ripped piece by piece out of the womb. And once you see that, it's like, how do you?
Sad. And then I think about other states in the last few years that they were even talking about full-term abortions. That was up in the air. I think New York was one of them where they were talking about like post-birth abortion, where they delivered the baby's head and they cut the cervical spine.
Yeah. So they're already performing up to birth abortions. That's currently happening in 9 states in America.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, there's no limits. And we actually have we have an abortion provider here in Florida that owns several clinics. And they send people to other states, specifically DC area for abortions because he owns them there too. So when they come in and there's a 6-week ban, is no problem. We'll just send you to another state.
Wow. And they're making millions by doing
it's so much
so.
money.
That is so, so sad. Education is so important for these young women.
It really is. And to think that it's like, what, $500 average to have an abortion, but it's like $35,000 average to adopt a baby. It
That
just
is a
does
problem.
not make any sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
How can we fix
we put
that?
a value on the adoption of them, but we act like they're not worth anything, even up to birth. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, there's people waiting and wanting and longing to parent.
And a lot of them can't afford to
They can't
adopt
afford.
in that way. How do we change that? You know, how do we change that?
I think, education is the key to all of it. Educating people about what abortion truly is and the statistics and understanding it, and then understanding adoption, and that there are so many people out there waiting. They're just waiting for a family, and women are choosing abortion over adoption because they don't understand it. They don't understand that they can pick the parents, that they can have a relationship with the child, an open adoption. They don't understand the foster care and that there's resources available for ones who may want to step into that. So really talking to people and educating and also connecting resources, right?
Yeah.
Like being able to, like our pregnancy center connected with the care portal and the different churches. And
I wonder though if women don't realize like the long-term effects like we were talking about earlier, and maybe getting women who have had an abortion to speak to them because they think it's so painful to choose adoption. They don't realize how much more painful and long-term it is to deal with all of the emotions and the regret of choosing to terminate when they've known all the information given to them, knowing it's ending a life, and they still choose that. I bring that up again because I actually know a few women who are godly women, love Jesus, and you would never have guessed that they chose abortion at some point in their lives. And as long as they've been Christians, they're mature believers. One of them in particular is in ministry, and they say when they hear a baby cry, they still think about it. They still wonder where, what that child could have been.
Right.
And all these things. I know that choosing adoption could be painful as well, but at least you've given life to the child.
Yeah.
And that's not the same kind of like hurt and regret and pain, I don't think, from just talking with people.
Yeah.
Well, I can speak from personal experience because I am post-abortive.
Okay.
So, and many women that are working in pregnancy ministry are post-abortive.
Really?
Yeah. So, it's...
So is that kind of right on? Like what,
it is
like
right on. It's
you don't
right
forget
on.
about it.
You never forget. No.
Yeah.
Then now I have to say there is healing, and there's forgiveness through God, and there's healing possible. We offer a post-abortion care program also. So I always recommend, if a girl does make that choice, we let her know we have this for you too. We don't want you to suffer, like for me, decades of suffering in silence before getting healing. So,
And now God's using you to speak to other women and help them in their process.
It's part of my testimony.
That's amazing.
That.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking too, like we were talking about the rape and how it is only 1%, but how so many people understand abortion in the case of rape. But being like a post-abortive woman, I think, how could you, you're putting another trauma on top of something that you've already experienced rape, which is very traumatic. And now you're going to live with the guilt of terminating, taking a life.
Right.
So it's not the answer.
That's
and there are people out there. I don't know if you all are familiar with the Jason Loving's band. He was at we had him for our fundraiser last year. He is a product of rape, and he is doing amazing things for God's kingdom. And he's he's a wonderful Christian man. And there are so many stories of people whose parent chose a life for them that came out of rape, and their lives are valuable.
Yes.
You know, just because
Yes.
it was conceived in sin
Right.
does not make that life any less valuable.
Right.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. So let's talk a minute about why the church should really be involved in this subject, because it seems that the church wants to get involved in so many different areas, from feeding the homeless and all of these things, but they don't really step up when it comes to helping foster parents and speaking out against abortion and helping adoptive parents. Like, tell me what you think. Like, I mean, I know that the church needs to step up, and I know God calls each and every one of us to do this, but talk to me a little bit about why we should really be stepping up.
Absolutely. Well, the fatherless and orphans are mentioned 49 times in the Bible, and so much about us having to care for them. And one of our key Bible verses that we use a lot is James 1:27, and it says, "Pure and undefiled religion is to care for orphans and widows in their time of need, and to remain unspotted from the world." And so it is everyone's biblical mandate. The question is in what way? How do we fulfill James 1:27? Not everybody's called to foster, and not everybody's called to adopt, but we're all called to do something.
Right.
And I think probably the setbacks from the church's perspective is that they just don't know enough about it to know how to get involved. And I feel like that's part of our mission. Like, our nonprofit is a mission organization. In fact, my husband and I are missionaries.
Right.
And so our mission is to not only engage the local church, but to equip them and to give them that understanding. Okay, this is what the Bible says about it, and this is what we can do. And you can kind of choose from this like plethora of ideas, like this spectrum. We have prevention. You can go from like preventing families from being separated and helping with like the at-risk families that could lose their children, which are usually DCF cases, and they're usually non-abuse. They're more like neglect but poverty related. And so there's a way we can step in there, all the way to fostering, to adoption, to aging out youth. And so there's a big spectrum. And so I believe that all churches can find kind of their niche of where they can fit in somewhere to help be the solution to the foster care crisis in their area. And someone might be listening and say, well, I don't know if there's a crisis in my area. Well, I'm thinking there's probably a crisis everywhere in the nation, because we have 350,000 children in foster care as a nation. And here in Florida, it's right around 15,000. That's 15,000 too many kids.
Absolutely.
Like, we need to do something about these
Yeah.
kids. We need to step in some way. And so for somebody, it could look like fostering. For someone else, it could be that they're part of the wraparound care community. They're a care community for that family. They bring meals. They provide babysitting. They're doing lighthouse work. They're providing respite care, which is like overnight, maybe for 2 or 3 days, to give the family some time off. Or if they need to go out of town and they can't take the kids because you can't cross state lines without a judge's order, typically, things like that. And so there's always a way to serve. Churches just need to know how. I believe most churches have a desire to do something. It's just like, where do I start kind of thing. One of the other things that I've learned in doing this for almost 13 years when talking with churches and church leadership is, well, we love this. We know we're called to do this because the Bible says so. We don't have to pray about this ministry. We know it's a biblical mandate. We just don't have anyone to lead it. And that's our second run-in, is we think we believe in this, but we don't have someone at our church who can take the lead. And I get it, because church, pastors can't take everything
do it
on.
all.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
they do
can't.
so much already.
They can't, yeah. I
try.
remember back in the day when we brought this idea to our pastors when we were on staff as kids pastors. And it was like, well, who's going to lead it? We are. So we're like, we're children's pastors, but we're also doing this like on the side. It's just kind of a ministry that we were doing.
Yeah.
And I think that may be kind of the go-to with pastors is like children. Let's just let the children's pastor do it. But it doesn't have to be that way. It could be the outreach person. It could be lay people.
Right.
Give lay people, in Ephesians it says we need to equip the saints for the work of the ministry.
Yeah.
Let's
Now
do
you're
it.
preaching, girl.
We got to equip the saints because it doesn't. You don't have to be a pastor
Right.
and have a microphone or have a pulpit to lead a ministry. Let's get some lay people.
Yeah.
To take the lead on this, get a team together, and then this is where One Family comes in. Is we bring all the training. We train the churches to do it all. We give them the resources, the online platforms. We'll train their teams, and we'll do it over and over again if they have new people. And we don't charge because we're missionaries, and so we're donor supported.
Right.
And so we can provide these free resources and trainings and support to the churches on an ongoing basis. So there's no excuse.
Right? Right.
Yes.
Well, I think that's really amazing what you do. I think it's really amazing what you do as well, Melanie. And I appreciate both of you guys being here today. We do have to hop into our next segment because we do have a very special guest today that ties into this. So today I have a very special guest. His name is Jake Twenge. He owns Jake and Bake Cakes in Port Orange, and he gives back to the community through Cakes for Kids. Welcome to the show, Jake.
Thank you. I don't know how I'm going to follow up the amazing conversation that's been going on.
I know.
We'll
It's
do our
like you've
best.
been enjoying the show
Yeah,
so
it's
far.
been incredible.
Very informative.
Yes.
I've learned a lot already. And I appreciate you guys being here and informing me. And all of you guys also, we're going to give you guys all of the information. So make sure that you are tuning in for that and more from Melanie and Sandra. So Jake, tell me, how long have you been baking?
Baking. I grew up baking. So
Like
my
3
parents,
years old
parents
in
both
the bowl?
loved baking. And we spent a lot of time making chocolate chip cookies and cakes and pies and all kinds of things. So kind of grew up baking, but didn't ever think of it as a career
Okay.
until it was time to make a change from construction. And
Oh,
so
my husband
made
can
a big
relate to
move,
that.
And yeah, God called me to do something new.
So how long have you been in business then?
My business officially opened January 1st, 2023.
Okay, so not too long.
Closing on 3 years now.
Wow. Well, you've done a lot of things in the last 3 years. How did you get started? So you said that you were in construction. That's
Right.
a big difference from going from, hammering things to mixing
some
cakes.
similarities.
So
Yeah.
what brought that?
Yeah. So when my nephew was turning 3, I was 16 years old, and I didn't have any money to get him something cool that you would want to get for your nephew. But what I did have was the ability to, use my art skills and baking skills to make him a brownies cut out and shaped like Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
So I did that. And for the next year, I did another cake of something he was interested in, the next year and the next year and the next year. And that went on for 13 years, only making him cakes.
Oh.
And when we decided to liquidate our construction company and move to Florida, it just was time to do something new. And I was either going to open a gym or start baking cakes.
Okay. And the cakes bring you to the gym.
And the cakes bring you to the gym. I didn't
what
want
I was
fitness to
thinking.
become work, so I started doing cakes. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you have something called Cakes for Kids.
Yes.
Tell me, what is Cakes for Kids?
All right. Well, Cakes for Kids is my effort to give back to the community through donating cakes to local children and teens in foster care. So I've been doing that for almost 2 years now. I've done almost 70 cakes. And if I may go off of what Sandra was talking about
Please do.
earlier about you don't have to do a lot. You don't have to take in kids for foster care. You don't have to adopt. You don't have to do crazy things. Small things can make such a huge difference. And I do TikTok lives, and I have people all the time that ask, how can I get my business into donating? And I always tell people, reach out to your community, find people. If it is truly foster care that you have a heart for, that God's calling you to do, then go on your local Facebook community group, just like how I found you, and reach out and ask people, where can I find these kids to offer my services to, these families to offer my services to. And that's my biggest thing. Just start, because every little thing you do makes such a big difference. Yeah. And it might not seem like it, but some of these kids, they've never had their own bed. They've never had birthday cakes. They've never had a birthday thrown for them. They've never received gifts. And something so small that doesn't seem like much to you could mean the world to these kids.
Right. So then why foster care? You wanted to give back to the community.
Yes.
But why specifically foster care for you?
Foster care, you ask God questions. And when you're starting a business, you ask God, show me ways to grow. And he used past parts of my life, such as, I have an adopted older sister. My wife has an older sister that's adopted. My sister-in-law and my brother, they have 3 children in foster care. And before we moved, I was able to make cakes for some of their foster kids. And it just kind of, God put it on my heart that it was, if you want to grow, then do it in a way that serves me. And I was able to listen to that and say, okay, if that's what you want me to do, I'm not making any money, but I'm going to do it. And it's been the biggest part of my business. It's been the most blessing. It gives me the most joy. I'm able to write letters to the kids that I donate cakes to and share God's love for them, because they're not always in houses that teach about God.
Right.
And so to be able to do something so simple that, Jesus has blessed my life, he will bless yours too. And share that with these kids. It might be the only time they hear it. They might hear it every day.
Right.
But hopefully that answers your...
That's such an amazing thing. And I thought I read something about how your goal is to one day be able to donate one cake for like every sold cake. Yeah, so originally that's what I was saying. I'll donate a cake, and I get a that's
bunch
a big
of cakes.
Goal.
And I think I've done I don't know, over 600 cakes probably, and I've donated. I'm closing in on 70, but I've only had to turn down a cake one time. That was a donation cake. It was because I was literally out of town. But my goal is never to turn one down. And I put the effort in that I would make for any paid cake. And they get to pick what the flavor, they get to pick the theme. And if I could one day only do cakes that I donate, that'd be
okay with you.
The best thing in the world.
Well, I think that's really amazing. What's the craziest cake you've ever made?
Craziest cake that I made. I have done... Now, I don't use any fondant. It's all buttercream. Okay. And I'm self-taught. So I had to learn pretty much everything off just what I think works. And that kind of goes back to construction, where you have to improvise all the time. And so I had a request for a roller skate cake. And everybody sends me cakes, and they're always wrapped in fondant because it's easy to... I don't want to say easy, but it's more simple to make cakes like that with fondant. And so I cut it out and shaped it, and buttercreamed it and made cake pop dough for the wheels and the heel, and put laces on it. And the guy loved it. I mean, he was, but that one, or the nurse's scrubs, I did one of those recently. So those are probably like two of the more crazy.
It's got to be more
cakes that I've
difficult
done.
to be using buttercream for sure.
Oh yeah. And I've done books. I did the Bible one time.
Oh, neat.
That's so cool.
So, that was an interesting one.
Did you have to write the words on the page?
Yeah, so I have a Cricut.
That would be...
Oh,
no way.
You can't open it, but I have a Cricut, and I use that to cut out stencils. And for that one, I did gold powder for, the cross and the Holy Bible and stuff.
Oh my gosh,
so,
that's cool.
So
That's cool.
I've done a number of kind of wild, unique ones, but I love them all. So
Where can we see these pictures, Jake?
Yeah.
Instagram. I do have a Facebook. Instagram's probably the most. My website, although I'm terrible about updating it. I'm on TikTok if you ever want to watch live. Cakes with Jake. I do most of my cakes live. So that's, yeah.
Can't wait to see them.
Well, I love your heart on that, to give back to the community. That was what drew me to have you on, was the fact that you are giving back and that your heart is for God's kingdom and for those kids in foster care. If other people wanted to support you, order a cake from you, maybe they just want to donate to you so that you're able to give more cakes away to kids in foster care, how can they do that?
So my website, jakeandbakecakes.com, it has links in there for ordering a cake, cakes that I've done in the past, and then it has a link to my Cakes for Kids program, and that has a donation button right on it that people can go to and donate. Or if you're part of the foster community, local, or even if you're okay with driving, my number's on there, jakeandbakecakes.com, or Google me and you'll be able to find me. And do not hesitate to reach out. I love it. I tell people all the time, reach out. Come, just don't be afraid. Like, don't think that you're doing me a disservice by asking. It's what I want to do.
Right.
So I urge anybody that does have children in foster care, teens in foster care, or is in touch with these homes that these kids and teens are at, reach out to me. I'd love to help.
Well, you may get a lot more cakes now that you're connected with these two.
So I've heard, yeah.
Uh-oh. Except mine are adopted now, so they're not technically in foster care.
For anyone that has adopted, I also do 50% discount.
That's
good to know.
That's not one that I really have announced before,
Promoted
but I
as
don't
much.
want people to think that because these kids have been brought into a caring, loving home, He's put it on my heart. He's told me what He wants me to do. It's not my job to question Him. It's my job to listen. Yeah. So it's half off for them, and
awesome.
It's fully donated to children and teens in care. So.
Well, praise God. Thank you so much for being here, Jake.
Well, thank you for having
thank you
me.
for your heart and your willingness to obey the call that God placed on your life. And it warms my heart that there are people out there doing that. You know, you do see a lot more of this than you do see, like you said, it could be the smallest thing, you know, that you can do that really makes a huge difference for these kids. And so thank you so much for being a part of the show, and make sure, guys, that you are keeping up with future events and projects for Jake and Bake Cakes, and reach out to him if you need anything at all. And I know we could probably talk about this subject and foster care and adoption for probably at least another hour. But you guys are going to have to stay tuned for future episodes. If you're in need of any fostering or adoption resources, please reach out to Sandra at One Family. And those that are struggling with the tough decisions that come with pregnancy, contact Coastal Choices Women's Clinic to guide you through that. Guys, we've come to the end of our show. Sad face. But thank you so much, Sandra and Melanie and Jake, for being a part. And you guys just make sure you join us next week. We'll have new guests and new topics as we dive into the Heavenly View. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Heavenly View. Remember